The wedding date is set for next Saturday. Suddenly, the fiancé Jet Lu said he was going to Sonia. Harley said that the greatest regret of her life was that she had never seen the sea. I promised to go with her. Harley was his first love. She was in the terminal stage of leukemia and wouldn't survive this winter. Looking at the wedding invitation I had just picked up in my hand, I laughed so hard that my eyes were red. What about me? Ning Ning, you are the most understanding. Just this once. He patted my head as if soothing a child. I nodded in agreement and turned around to call his cousin. Bronx, haven't you always said you like me? We'll get our marriage certificate in 3 days and have our wedding next Saturday. Is it in time? There was 3 seconds of silence on the other end of the phone, followed by an ecstatic voice. It's not too late. I'm going to get the household register right now. Later, when Jet Lu returned from Sonia, seeing the room full of wedding candies and invitations, his face turned deathly pale. Ning Song, are you crazy? Bronx is only 23 years old. You are 5 years older than him. I smiled and handed him an invitation saying, can't Harley's illness still be delayed for a few more months? You can accompany her to see the snow, the grassland, and the whole world. But my wedding date can't wait any longer. The morning Jet left, I got up very early. He was standing at the entrance changing his shoes, while I was standing at the restaurant door with a cup of coffee watching him. What time did you book the air ticket? I asked. 10 o'clock. He didn't even raise his head. I'll have the driver take you to the company. No need. I'm on vacation today. Only then did he look up at me, his eyes somewhat surprised but more eager. Then you stay at home and have a good rest. I've prepared some dishes in the fridge. If you want to eat something, cook it yourself. By the way, my mom will keep an eye on the wedding next Saturday. You don't need to worry too much. I nodded but said nothing. He seemed to heave a sigh of relief and came over to kiss me on the forehead, saying, wait for me to come back. The moment the door closed, I poured the coffee into the trash can. It's been 5 years. From graduating from university until now, Jet Lu and I have been together for exactly 5 years. We got engaged last year. We had agreed to get married before the spring festival this year, but it has been postponed again and again. 3 months ago he suddenly said that he would set the wedding date for this month. I thought he had finally figured it out, but last night he told me he was going to Sonia to watch the sea with Harley. She doesn't have much time left, Ning Ning. This is her last wish. When he said this, his eyes were red. I looked at him and suddenly a vague emotion welled up in my heart. It's not jealousy nor anger but a kind of exhaustion that penetrates to the marrow. I have loved Jet Lu for 5 years, but suddenly I'm not sure whether he loves me or that white moonlight that can never be obtained. The mobile phone rang. It was his cousin Bronx Lu. Sister-in-law, did my brother really go to Sonia? Damn it. Is there something wrong with his brain? Bronx Lu's voice was filled with anger. You're getting married in a week and he actually left you to be with another woman. I smiled and said, he said Harley wouldn't live long. Should one torment others if they don't live long? Ning Song, you are so easy to talk to. Bronx Lu on the other end of the phone was extremely angry, but I was unusually calm. I sat down on the sofa, looking at the stack of invitations on the coffee table that hadn't been sent out yet. Suddenly I asked, Bronx, when you said you liked me last time, were you serious? There was a few seconds of silence on the other end of the phone. Sister-in-law, what did you say? I ask you, are you serious? His voice trembled a little. How dare I? If I say that we'll get our marriage certificate in 3 days and hold the wedding as originally planned next Saturday with you as the groom, would you be willing? This time the silence lasted even longer. I could hear his heavy breathing and the noisy sounds in the background. He should be in the company. Ning Song, are you serious? His voice was soft but I could tell it was trembling. Be more serious than ever. I said, I've been engaged for 5 years and waited for him for 5 years. With only 1 week left until his wedding, he went to watch the sea with another woman. Bronx, I'm tired and don't want to wait any longer. Okay. He replied almost immediately, I'm going home right now to get my household register. After hanging up the phone, I stared blankly at my phone. I have known Bronx Lu for 3 years. He is Jet Lu's cousin and is 5 years younger than me. He just returned from his postgraduate studies abroad this year and joined the Lu family's company. Last Mid-Autumn Festival, he drank too much and held my hand saying, Sister-in-law, if only I had known you 5 years earlier. At that time Jet Lu was right beside him. He just smiled and pushed Bronx Lu away, saying, "If you drink too much, keep quiet." But I remembered that sentence. Half an hour later Bronx Land showed up at my door. He was wearing yesterday's shirt, his hair was a bit messy and he still looked sleepy on his face. But he held the household register tightly in his hand, his eyes shining terrifyingly. "Here I come." He stood at the door, his voice trembling a little. I let him in and poured him a glass of water. He sat on the edge of the sofa, his whole body tense as if he were about to jump up at any moment. "Have you made up your mind?" I asked him. "I've made up my mind." He nodded. "Ning Song, I know you might just be sulking now, but I don't care. I have liked you for 3 years. Even if I could only marry you for one day, I would still be willing." I looked into his eyes. There was passion, tension, and cautious anticipation in them. "All right. We'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow. Today I'll show you the invitations and the wedding process. You need to get familiar with them. Besides, for the time being, don't tell any other members of the Lu family about this matter." "Why?" "Because once we say it, your mom and Jet Lu's mom will stop us." I said, "Once we get the marriage certificate, even if they object, it will be too late." Bronx Lu was silent for a while and then nodded. "All right, I'll listen to you." I showed him the materials prepared by the wedding planner. The wedding was held at the best hotel in the city center. More than half of the invitations have been sent out and there are over 200 guests on the list. The venue, the banquet, the decoration, everything was prepared according to the schedule for a week later. I was flipping through the documents and said, "You just need to show up on time on the wedding day." "Where's the best man?" he asked. "I'll look for the best man again." I said, "Jet Lu's best man was his college roommate. Now all of them have been replaced." He nodded, his gaze falling on the invitation. The cover of the invitation card was printed with my and Jet Lu's names, but the photo space was empty because we had never had time to take wedding photos. "What about wedding photos?" he asked. "Stop shooting." I said, "Since it's not needed in the hotel anyway, I'll save it." He looked at me wanting to say something but stopping himself. "Just say whatever you want." I said, "Ning Song you." He paused for a moment. "Will you regret it?" "Regret what?" "Regret marrying me instead of waiting for my brother to come back." I smiled and said, "Bronx Land, the last people in this world who should ask a woman if she will regret it are those men who let women make decisions." He froze and then smiled as well. That afternoon I took him to meet the wedding planner. The planner is a woman in her 30s surnamed Lin. She has been in this line of work for over a decade and is highly experienced. "Miss Song, the groom. Changed?" Sister Lin looked at Bronx Lu, her eyes somewhat complicated. "Well, something has changed." I said, "The other procedures remain the same, only the groomsmen team needs to be replaced." "So sudden. Is it in time?" I asked. Sister Lin was silent for a few seconds, looked at me, then at Bronx Lu, and finally nodded. "It's not too late, but the invitation. What has already been sent out will not be changed." I said, "You'll naturally know at the wedding." Sister Lin clearly wanted to say something, but in the end she kept her mouth shut. In this line of work, having witnessed so many strange things, she knows what to ask and what not to ask. "Does the Master of Ceremonies script need to be changed?" she asked. "Change." I said, "Change all the places that mention the groom's name to Bronx Land." Bronx Lu sat beside me without saying a word. But I could sense that he was shaking. Early the next morning, Bronx Lu and I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. There weren't many people at the Civil Affairs office on Tuesday. We waited in line for 20 minutes before it was our turn. The staff member was a young girl. She took our household registration books and ID cards, glanced at them and then looked up at us. "Sure you want to register?" she asked. "Sure," I said. "Then go and take some photos." In the photo studio, the photographer asked us to sit closer. Bronx Lu's body was very stiff and I could feel his hands shaking. "Relax," I whispered. He took a deep breath and turned to look at me, saying, "Ning Song, I'm so nervous." "Me too." 3, 2, 1 eggplant. The moment the flashlight came on, I saw him smile. 10 minutes later, 2 red certificates were placed in our hands. "Congratulations," the staff member said. When I walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, the sunlight was very dazzling. Bronx Lu held up the marriage certificate, still feeling a bit dazed. "Just like this. Married?" He muttered to himself. Well, that's how we got married. I said, Mrs. Liu. He was stunned for a moment, then suddenly burst out laughing. Mrs. Liu? Oh, it should be Mr. Liu. All the same. We stood in front of the Civil Affairs Bureau for a while, not knowing what to say. This marriage came so suddenly that we didn't even have time to react. Are you hungry? He asked. Not bad. Then let's go for a meal and celebrate. Celebrate what? Celebrate. He thought for a moment and said, let's celebrate that I finally caught up with you. I smiled. We found a restaurant nearby and asked for a private room. While ordering dishes, Bronxland kept looking at me. What are you looking at? I asked. Look at my wife. He said, it looks good no matter how you look at it. Nonsense. When the dishes were served, Bronx Lou poured me some wine. Drink this. I watched him pour the red wine. What? Do you want to drink white? Whatever. It's fine. He filled 2 cups and raised them, saying, to us. Respect us. The wine glasses clinked together, making a crisp sound. After taking a sip of wine, Bronx Lou suddenly asked, Ning Song, do you really have no regrets? You've asked it for the 2nd time. I said, what? You regret it. I didn't. He shook his head hurriedly. I'm just afraid of you. Why are you afraid of me? I'm afraid that when you see my brother come back, your heart will soften again. I put down my wine glass and looked at him. Bronx Lou, since I dare to get married to you, I'm not afraid to face anyone. If you're afraid, it's not too late now. I'm not afraid. He said, I am. I just want to confirm. Confirm what? Make sure you are really willing to marry me. His eyes were bright. Ning Song, I know I'm not good enough for you. You are 5 years older than me, more mature and more outstanding than me. But I really like you. I have liked you since the first time I saw you. I looked at him and suddenly felt a pang in my heart. I remember the first time I saw you was 3 years ago on the Mid-Autumn Festival. He continued, I just came back from abroad and went to my brother's place for dinner. You were busy in the kitchen while my brother is playing games in the living room. I went in to help you, but you wouldn't let me in, saying I was a guest. At that time I thought to myself, how could my elder brother be so immature? He had such a wonderful girlfriend but didn't know how to cherish her. Later on, I often made excuses to go to my brother's house just to see you a few more times. Sometimes my elder brother is on a business trip and leaves you alone at home, so I go to keep you company. We watched movies together, cooked together and chatted together. At those times I was thinking how wonderful it would be if you were my girlfriend. As he spoke, his eyes welled up with tears. Ning Song, I don't know what kind of good fortune I accumulated in my previous life that enabled you to marry me. But I promise I will be good to you, 100 or 1,000 times better than my elder brother. I picked up the wine glass and downed it in one gulp. In the Bronx, when it comes to matters of the heart, it's not the case that one person being kind to the other can last long. I said, I married you not because you were good to me nor out of spite. It's because I'm tired and don't want to wait any longer. I know. He said, but I will still be good to you. After having a meal we went to the mall. Bronx Lou said he would buy me a gift. What to buy? I asked. Ring. He said, a wedding must have a ring, right? No need. I have it. I raised my hand, still wearing the engagement ring that Jet Lu had given me. Bronx Lou looked at the ring, his expression darkening. Take it off. What? I said, take it off. His voice was firm. Ning Song, you are my wife now. You can't wear a ring given by another man. I looked at him, remained silent for a few seconds and then took off the ring. Throw it away. He said. This is. I don't care what it is. Anyway, you can't wear it now. I put the ring in my bag and followed him into the jewelry store. The shop assistant was very enthusiastic and took out various styles for us to choose from. Bronx Lou didn't even look and pointed directly at the largest diamond ring in the counter, saying, this is it. Sir, this one is our store's treasure, 10 carats. How much is it? 6 and 8 million. Swipe the card. The shop assistant was stunned and so was I. Bronxland, no need to buy such an expensive one. I said. Not expensive. He said, my wife is worth the price. He swiped his card and the shop assistant carefully placed the ring on my hand. The 10-carat diamond sparkled under the light, dazzling so much that it was somewhat blinding. Is it good looking? He asked me. Nice. That's fine. He smiled. Let's go. Let's go home. Stepping out of the mall, I looked at the ring on my hand, but couldn't put my finger on what I was feeling. The phone rang. It was Jet Lu. Meaning you've arrived in Sonya. His voice sounded very relaxed. The weather here is nice. Harley said he wanted to go diving. And what are you doing? Go shopping. Don't be tired. Go back and rest early. He said, by the way, regarding the wedding, my mom said the floral arrangements haven't been decided yet. Please remember to follow up. I see. Well, that's it for now. I'm going to be with Harley. He hung up the phone and I stared blankly at the phone screen. What's my brother's phone number? Bronx Land Station is by my side. What did he say? Nothing. Just ask me what I'm doing. What did you say? Said I was shopping. Bronx Lu was silent for a while, then suddenly took my hand and said, Ning Song, let's take a photo and post it on Moments. Send what? Just give out the rings. He said, let everyone know that you are my wife. I looked at him without saying a word. He raised his mobile phone, placed my hand and his hand together, and the 10-carat diamond ring sparkled in the lens. With a click, the photo was taken. He edited his moments with only 2 words in the caption. Married. Sent. He said, from today on, the whole world knows that you are my wife. I looked at him and suddenly felt a bit reluctant in my heart. Bronx Lu, will you regret it? I asked. No. He said, the thing I have never regretted in my life is marrying you. At 9 o'clock in the evening, my phone exploded. The first one to call was Lu's mother, Jet Lu's mother. Ning Song, are you crazy? Her voice was sharp. How could you get married to Bronx? Auntie, my engagement with Jet Lu is broken off. I said, when was it lifted? How come I didn't know? Just today when he was in Sonya watching the sea with another woman. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end of the phone. Ning Song, I know Jet did something wrong, but you can't be so impulsive either. Lu's mother's tone softened. Bronx is only 23 years old. You're 5 years older than him. You two are simply not a good match. Whether it's suitable or not, we know it ourselves. Auntie, the marriage certificate has been obtained and the wedding won't be cancelled. Just come on time next Saturday. I hung up the phone. Next up was the mother of Lu from the Bronx, his aunt and all the aunts and uncles of the Lu family. The phone calls came one after another, all filled with questions and accusations. Ning Song, this is your revenge. Have you considered the future of the Bronx when you do this? Jet loves you so much. How could you? I set my phone to silent mode and threw it on the sofa. Bronx Lu sat beside me looking very pale. Did my mom call you? Well, and your aunt, your second aunt and your third aunt. I'll go and tell them. He stood up. What are you saying? Say you were coerced by me? I held him back. Bronx Land, this is a matter between the two of us. There's no need to explain it to anyone. But. There's no but that. I said, if you're scared, pack up and go back to your mom right now. He looked at me and suddenly smiled. Ning Song, you look like a ruffian now. What did you say? I said, I like it when you are like this now. He sat back down and held me in his arms. Don't be afraid. If the sky falls, I'll hold it up. I leaned on his shoulder and closed my eyes. The phone is still vibrating, but I don't want to care anymore. Early the next morning, Jet Lu's call came in. Ning Song, have you and Bronx got married? His voice was very cold. Why? Because you're not here. You. He took a deep breath. You did it on purpose, didn't you? Deliberately when I'm not around. Jet Lu, it was you who left first. I interrupted him. There's only 1 week left for the wedding. You went to watch the sea with another woman. Now you come back and ask me why. Don't you find it funny? Harley is dying. His voice rose. Ning Song, she just wants to see the sea once before she dies. Can I refuse? What about me? I asked. I've been waiting for you for 5 years. Can you refuse? He fell silent. Jet Lu, over the past 5 years, how many times have you failed to show up because of Harley? Last year she was hospitalized due to illness and you cancelled our engagement party. This year she wanted to go hiking, but you turned down the plan to accompany me back to my hometown. Now that the wedding date has come, she wants to see the sea, but you left me and ran away again. I know she's dying. I know she's pitiful. But Jet Lu, I'm human too. I also need to be valued and cherished. Ning Song. Don't call me. I said, "The marriage certificate has been obtained. The wedding will proceed as usual. Jet Lu, thank you for your company over the past 5 years, but we'll stop here." I hung up the phone. Bronx Lu came out of the kitchen carrying 2 bowls of porridge. "What's my brother's phone number?" What did he say?" "Question me why I got married to you." Bronx Lu placed the porridge on the table and sat down. "Then what did you say?" "It is said that the marriage certificate has been obtained and the wedding will proceed as usual." He looked at me and suddenly smiled. "Ning Song, you're really cool." "Cool what?" "Cool just because you said you'd let it go." He said, "Unlike me, I've liked you for 3 years. Every time I see you with my brother, I feel so bad." I took a sip of porridge but said nothing. "Ning Song, do you regret it?" He asked again. "You've asked this question for the 3rd time today. Bez, I'm scared." He said, "I'm afraid that one day you'll suddenly realize that marrying me was a mistake." "Bronx, we're already married. What are you still afraid of?" "I'm afraid you still have my brother in your heart." I put down the bowl and looked at him. "Then do you think I have him in my heart?" He fell silent. "Bronx Lu, I won't lie to you." I said, "I do still have Jet Lu in my heart. After all, we've been together for 5 years. But this doesn't mean I still love him, nor does it mean I will regret marrying you." "Why?" "Because some things are not a matter of love or not." I said, "It's a matter of whether it's worth it." He looked at me, his eyes gradually reddening. "Ning Song, I'll make you feel it's worth it." He said, "I promise." After breakfast I went to the company. I'm the design director of a design company. I've been on leave these days because of my wedding and have accumulated a lot of work. As soon as I arrived at the office, my colleagues surrounded me. "Ning Ning, I heard you got a new groom?" "Really? Does Mr. Lu know? Aren't you and Mr. Lu getting along quite well? How come all of a sudden?" I smiled and said, "It's all true. The wedding will be held next Saturday. Everyone is welcome to attend." "Then you and Mr. Lu?" "We broke up." I said, "It's just about these few days." There was an uproar in the office. "Why? Aren't you both engaged?" "Yeah, I thought you two would definitely get married." "Alas, in this world even you two have broken up. What else could be true?" I didn't explain any more and went back to my office. As soon as I turned on the computer, I saw a message sent by Jet Lu. "Ning Song, let's talk. There's nothing much to talk about. Just 10 minutes. I'll come back to find you tomorrow." "No need. I'm very busy." Ning Song. I closed the dialog box and began to handle the work. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the mobile phone rang again. This time it's Sister Lin, the wedding planner. "Miss Song, there's a question I need to confirm with you." She said, "Even the procedures for the wedding day, the music for the groom's entrance, and the vows all need to be re-rehearsed. Mr. Lu. Does Mr. Lu from Bronx have time? I'll ask him." After hanging up the phone, I sent a message to Bronx Lu. "Are you free this afternoon? I need to go for a rehearsal." "Yes." "No. I'll come and pick you up right away." Half an hour later, Bronx Lu came to pick me up at the company by car. He changed into a black casual outfit and had his hair styled again, looking very energetic. "How about it? Handsome?" He smiled and asked me. "Not bad." "What do you mean, okay?" "You're clearly very handsome, okay?" I smiled and said, all right. You're the most handsome." When the car arrived at the wedding hotel, Sister Lin was already waiting for us. She led us into the banquet hall. The entire venue was almost decorated with champagne-colored gauze curtains, white roses and crystal chandeliers, looking dreamy and romantic. "Miss Song, this is what we arranged according to the previous plan," Sister Lin said. "If there are any areas that need to be improved, it's not too late now." I looked around and shook my head saying, "It's quite good. There's no need to change it." "Then let's start the rehearsal." Sister Lin asked us to stand at the entrance and then explain the process to us. On the wedding day, the music started and the groom entered first, walking to the center of the catwalk. Then the bride entered the venue accompanied by her father and walked up to the groom. The father handed the bride's hand to the groom, and then the bride and groom walked onto the stage together. When on the stage, the master of ceremonies will preside over the ceremony, followed by the exchange of rings, the recitation of oaths and finally the kissing. She spoke in great detail, but my attention was always on Bronx Lu. He listened very attentively, his eyes fixed on Sister Lin all the time, fearing that he might miss something. Did you understand? Sister Lin asked. Understood. Bronx Lou nodded. Then let's give it a try. The music started. Bronx Lou took a deep breath and walked out. His steps were a bit stiff but very steady. He walked to the center of the catwalk, turned around and looked at me at the entrance. The light shone on him and his eyes were very bright. I stood at my father's place for a while and then walked slowly towards him. With every step I take, I can feel my heart beating faster. This was my first time stepping onto the wedding stage, but the groom was not Jet Lou but Bronx Lou. Walking up to him, he stretched out his hand. I placed my hand in his hand. His hand was very warm and strong. Are you nervous? He asked me in a low voice. Not bad. I'm very nervous. He said, I'm afraid of going astray and making a fool of myself. No way. We walked towards the stage together and stood in the center. Sister Lin was guiding us by the side, asking us to adjust our positions and expressions. Bride and groom, please look at each other. I looked up and looked into his eyes. Groom, please recite your oath. Bronx Lou took a deep breath and said, Ning Song, from today on, I'm willing to be your husband. Whether poor or rich, healthy or ill, I will love you, respect you and protect you until the end of my life. He spoke very seriously, his eyes constantly fixed on me. Bride, please recite your oath. I opened my mouth, suddenly not knowing what to say. Sister Lin waited for a while. Seeing that I didn't respond, she whispered, Miss Song? Sorry. I said, I need to take a break. I turned around and walked off the stage. Bronx Lou caught up and asked, Ning Song, what's wrong with you? It's okay. I just felt a bit dazed all of a sudden. He looked at me, his eyes filled with both worry and unease. Are you? I'm fine. I interrupted him, it's my first time going through this process. I'm a bit unaccustomed to it. Shall we take a break then? No need. Just go on. I stepped back onto the stage and Sister Lin asked us to do it all over again. This time, when it was time for me to take an oath, I looked at Bronx Lou and spoke slowly. Bronx Lou, from today on, I am willing to be your wife. No matter. Before I could finish speaking, tears suddenly fell down. I was stunned myself. Bronx Lou panicked and quickly reached out to wipe my tears. Ning Song, why are you crying? I don't know either. I said, it was just suddenly. Are you missing my brother? His voice was soft, carrying a cautious probing. I shook my head no. That's Bronxland, I just think all of this has come too fast. I said, it's so close that I haven't even reacted before I've reached this point. He looked at me and remained silent for a long time. Ning Song, if you regret it, it's not too late now. He said, I can go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to cancel the certificate and the wedding can also be cancelled. If you want to go back to my elder brother, I won't stop you. What are you talking about? I'm serious. He said, I don't want you to force yourself to marry me. I looked at him and suddenly a vague emotion welled up in my heart. Bronx Lou, are you a fool? I said, why crying doesn't mean I regret it. I just need time to adapt. Really? Really? He heaved a sigh of relief and then smiled. That's good. It scared me to death. The rehearsal ended at 7 o'clock in the evening. Bronx Lou said he would treat me to a meal and I nodded in agreement. The car drove to a Japanese restaurant. Bronx Lou said it was his favorite place and wanted to bring me here to give it a try. The private room was very quiet with soft lighting. Bronx Lou ordered a table full of dishes and then sat down to look at me. Ning Song, are you really okay? He asked again. Well, it's okay. That's good. While having a meal, he kept serving me food and took very good care of me. Enough. I can't eat any more. I said. More. You've lost weight recently. No. Yes, I can tell. He said, is it because the wedding is too exhausting? Not bad. Then I'll prepare with you from now on. He said, you can't handle it all by yourself. I looked at him and suddenly felt a bit touched. Bronx Lou, you are so kind to me. I won't be used to it. Then just get used to it gradually. He smiled. Anyway, you'll have plenty of time to get used to it in the future. After the meal, he sent me home. When we got downstairs, he didn't leave but went up with me. Aren't you going back? I asked. Not back. He said, I moved here to live with you. Ah. We're both married, of course we have to live together. He said matter-of-factly, and I also want to take care of you. But here. What? You don't welcome me. I looked at him and sighed. Come in. He entered the door with a smile, carrying his luggage. That night I lay in bed staring blankly at the ceiling. From the next room came the sound of Bronx Lou packing up and humming a song. I suddenly felt that this home seemed to have changed. On the third day Jet Lou came back. He came directly to my company and waited for me downstairs. A colleague came running to tell me, Ning Ning, Mr. Lou is waiting for you downstairs. I frowned and still went down. Jet Lou was standing at the company gate, wearing a black windbreaker and looking very pale. Seeing me he came over quickly. Ning Song, let's talk. There's nothing much to talk about. You hate me so much? His voice trembled a little. So angry that you don't even want to talk to me? Jet Lou, it's not a matter of hate or not. I said, it's over. Over. Just because I spent a few days with Harley? He raised his voice. Ning Song, she's dying. I just want her to have fewer regrets before she dies. Is there anything wrong with that? Exactly. I said, but have you ever thought that after waiting for you for 5 years, who will make up for my regret? I'll make it up to you. After the wedding, I will always be by your side and never leave you alone again. Jet Lou, it's late. It's late. I said, it's too late. I looked at him and said, I'm already married to Bronx Land. At the wedding next Saturday the groom will be him, not you. He looked at me, his face gradually turning pale. Are you serious? Be more serious than ever. Ning Song, you're crazy. He grabbed my hand and said, do you know what you are doing? Bronx is only 23 years old. You are 5 years older than him. You two are simply not a good match. Whether it's suitable or not is not up to you. I shook off his hand. Jet Lou, let's break up. I don't agree. You have no right to disagree. I said, the certificate has been obtained. Everything is settled. He looked at me, his eyes gradually reddening. Ning Song, are you so heartless? His voice was a little choked up. 5 years of love, you just let it go like that? It was you who put it down first. I said, Jet Lou, these 5 years every time I needed you, you weren't there. On the engagement day, you accompanied Harley to the hospital. My father is in hospital. You accompany Harley to the concert. This spring festival you accompanied Harley back to his hometown. I know she's pitiful. I know she's dying soon. But Jet Lou, I'm human too and I also need to be cared about. Ning Song. Just go. I said, from now on let's each be well. I turned to leave when he suddenly hugged me from behind. Ning Song, don't go. His voice was very low. Please don't go. Let me go. I won't let it go. He said, Ning Song, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Could you give me a chance, please? I promise it will never happen again. Jet Lou, let go. I won't let go. He held even tighter. Ning Song, I love you. I really love you. I've been thinking of you all these days in Sonya. When I saw the sea, I thought of what you said you wanted to go to the seaside with me. While having a meal, I was thinking about what you like to eat. When I go to sleep at night, all I think about is what you are doing now. Ning Song, I find that I can't live without you. I stood there motionless. Jet Lou, is it meaningful for you to say all this now? I said, does it matter whether you love me or not? The important thing is that I don't love you anymore. His hand suddenly loosened. I turned around and saw the tears on his face. What did you say? He looked at me and said, you said you don't love me anymore? Well, I don't love you anymore. Deceiving. He shook his head. You're lying. How could you not love me? You've loved me for 5 years. How could you just say you don't love me anymore? Then just watch. I said, look at me marrying Bronx Land, look at me having children with him, look at me spending my whole life with him. He looked at me as if he had been emptied out. Ning Song, you've changed. He said, you are no longer the gentle and kind Ning Song you used to be. Yeah, I've changed. I said, I was forced by you. I walked back to the company while Jet Lou stood still motionless. Back in the office, I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes. My mind is in a mess, but at the same time I'm very clear-headed. I know that Jet Lou and I are really over. When I got home in the evening, Bronx Lou had already prepared the meal. Back. He came up with a smile and said, wash your hands and have your meal quickly. While having a meal, he suddenly said, Ning Song, I heard today that my elder brother came to the company to look for you. I looked up at him. What did he say? Nothing much. I just want us to get back together. Did you agree? He put down his chopsticks and looked at me. No. He heaved a sigh of relief. That's good. Bronxland, are you afraid? I asked. Are you afraid that I'll go back to your brother? Scared. He is very honest, but I trust you more. Trust me what? I believe that since you chose me you won't look back. I looked at him and suddenly felt a warmth in my heart. Bronx Lou, you are really stupid. What are you so stupid about? The only thing that's silly is that you've been so kind to me. Aren't you afraid that one day I'll take advantage of you? Just make use of it. He smiled. Anyway, I'm willing. That night, for the first time, I felt that marrying Bronx Lou wasn't so bad after all. There are still 4 days until the wedding. That morning I received a call from Lou's mother. Ning Song, come to our home. I have something to tell you. Auntie, I'm very busy. No matter how busy I am, I must come. Her tone was very firm, regarding your marriage to Bronx. I was silent for a while. Okay, I'll be there this afternoon. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon I drove to the Liu family. The Liu family is a villa area in the city center, covering a large area. I've been here many times and can find my way even with my eyes closed. Lou's mother was sitting in the living room. When she saw me come in, her face looked very bad. Sit down. She pointed to the sofa opposite. I sat down without saying a word. Ning Song, I came to you today just to ask you one question. She looked at me and asked, what on earth are you thinking? What were you thinking? The matter of getting married to Bronx. She said, are you serious or just sulking? Serious. Serious. She sneered. Ning Song, do you think I would believe it? You've been with Jet for 5 years. How could you just let it go like that? Auntie, Jet Lou and I have broken up. You can break up, but you can't be with Bronx. She raised her voice. Bronx is only 23. He's still young. His life has just begun. You're 5 years older than him. What future can you have if you two are together? The future is our own business. You're still so stubborn. She stood up. Ning Song, I'll make myself clear today. If you insist on marrying Bronx, I won't recognize your marriage. Auntie, if you don't admit it, it's enough if the law does. You. She was so angry that her face turned pale. Ning Song, you really let me down. I always regarded you as my daughter-in-law. I never expected that you would be such a person. What kind of person? To take revenge on Jet, I was willing to ruin the future of the Bronx. I smiled and said, Auntie, you're saying the opposite, aren't you? It was Jet Lou who left me first to be with another woman, not me who did something wrong first. Harley is dying. So should I just endure his repeated break-ins? Auntie, I'm human too and I have my bottom line. Mother Lou looked at me, her expression getting worse and worse. Ning Song, are you determined to marry Bronx? Yes. Okay, I'll tell you. She said, if you get married, all of Bronx's positions in the company will be removed and all his properties will be frozen. I looked at her and suddenly a wave of sadness welled up in my heart. Auntie, are you threatening me? It's not a threat but a statement of facts. She said, Bronx is from the Liu family. His future can't be ruined by you. Then did you ask the Bronx land? I asked him if he was willing. He's still young and doesn't understand things. He's 23 years old, not 3. I stood up. Auntie, to be frank, you're not doing this for the good of Bronx Lou. You just don't want to embarrass Jet Lou. What did you say? I'm telling the truth. I looked at her. Jet Lou left me to be with another woman. If this gets out, where will the Liu family put their face? So you want me to go back to Jet Lou's side so that everything can be treated as if it never happened. But have you ever thought about whether I'm willing or not? Mother Lou looked at me, her lips trembling. Ning Song, you've really changed. Yes, I've changed. I said, thank you for letting me see the true face of this family. I turned to leave when Lou's mother suddenly said, Ning Song, if you insist on marrying Bronx, then I'll let the whole world know about Harley. I stopped in my tracks. What does it mean? I'll tell everyone that it was you who were jealous of Harley, so you married Bronx to take revenge on Jet. She said, at that time it won't just be you who gets hurt but also the Bronx. I turned around and looked at her. Auntie, are you really going to do this? You forced me to do this. I smiled and said, okay, then you do it. Let's see who will lose face then. I walked out of the Liu family and got into the car, my hands shaking. I never thought that Mother Lu would say such words. The mobile phone rang. It was Bronx Lu. Ning Song, where are you? I just came out of your house. Did my mom look for you? His voice was very tense. What did she say? Nothing much. I just don't agree with our marriage. Then you. I said I wouldn't cancel the wedding. There was a moment of silence on the other end of the phone. Ning Song, I'm sorry. He said, it's all because of me that you've been wronged. It's okay. I'm not wronged. Where are you? I'll pick you up. No need. I'll go back by myself. After hanging up the phone, I leaned back in my seat and closed my eyes. Is all of this really what I want? All the preparations were completed 2 days before the wedding. The invitations have been sent out, the guests have been confirmed, and the venue has been set up. We are just waiting for that day to come. Bronx Land has been by my side these days, inseparable. Ning Song, are you nervous? He asked me. Not bad. I'm very nervous. He said, I'm afraid of making mistakes and of you going back on your word. I won't go back on my word. Really? Really? He smiled, his eyes very bright. That night we sat on the balcony and watched the stars. Ning Song, do you think we will be happy in the future? He asked. Sure. Then how many children do we have in the future? This. I want 2, a son and a daughter. He said, my son looks like me and my daughter looks like you. You're thinking quite far ahead. Of course. I'm the one who will spend my whole life with you. I looked at him and suddenly felt a bit touched. Bronx Lu, are you really willing to spend your whole life with me? Nonsense. Otherwise, why would I marry you? But. There's no but that. He interrupted me. Ning Song, I know what you're worried about. You're worried that one day I'll regret it, worried that I'll think you're not good enough for me. But I tell you, in this life the person I have set my heart on is you. No matter what happens in the future, I will never leave you. I looked at him, my eyes a little warm. Bronx Lu, you are so stupid. So be silly. Anyway, I'm willing. That night, for the first time, I felt that marrying Bronx Land might be the most correct decision I have ever made in my life. The day before the wedding, Jet Lu came again. This time he didn't come to the company but waited for me downstairs at my place. I was stunned for a moment when I saw him. He has lost a lot of weight, looks very pale, and his eyes are full of blood vessels. Ning Song, let's talk. He said. There's nothing much to talk about. Just this last time. He looked at me and said, please. I was silent for a while and then nodded. Okay. We went to a nearby coffee shop and found a corner to sit down. Speak up. What's the matter? I asked. Ning Song, I want you to call off the wedding. He looked at me and said, I know I'm not qualified to say this, but I still want to give it a try. Why? Because I love you. He said, Ning Song, I've been thinking a lot these days. I find that I can't live without you. Over the past 5 years, I have grown accustomed to your presence, your care, and your company. I know I'm sorry to you, and I also know I hurt you. But Ning Song, could you give me another chance? I'll handle Harley's matter well. I will never neglect you because of her again in the future. I listened to his words, but my heart was unusually calm. Jet Lu, it's late. It's late. I said, it's too late. I looked at him and said, it's too late for you to say this now. Ning Song. Jet Lu, do you know? I have been waiting for this sentence for 5 years. I said, 5 years ago, I hoped you could tell me that you love me and you can't live without me. But you didn't. These 5 years, every time I needed you, you weren't there. I was hospitalized due to illness and you were watching a movie with Harley. My father had a car accident and you are celebrating Harley's birthday with him. I wanted to give up countless times, but I still persisted. Because I love you, because I believe that one day you will see my goodness. But now I don't want to wait any longer. He looked at me and tears began to fall. Ning Song, please. He said, don't marry Bronx. He's not good enough for you. Whether you are worthy or not is not up to you. Then you say, do you love him? He suddenly raised his voice. Do you love him? Ning Song, do you dare to say you love him? I looked at him, silent for a long time. Jet Lu, does love or not matter? I said, what matters is that he is kind to me, he cares about me, and he is willing to change for me. You can't do any of these. He looked at me as if he had been emptied out. Ning Song, are you really going to be so ruthless? It wasn't that I was ruthless. It was you who let go first. I stand up. That's good. He smiled. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Bronx Lou, don't you regret it? I asked. Marry me. No regrets. He said, Ning Song, the thing I have never regretted in my life is marrying you. I looked at him and suddenly a warm current welled up in my heart. Bronx Lou, thank you. Thank you for what? Thank you for being willing to marry me. Fool. He smiled. It should be me thanking you. That night lying in bed I thought a lot. Thinking of the 5 years I spent with Jet Lou, thinking of what happened during this period, and thinking of getting married to Bronx Lou tomorrow. All of a sudden I felt that everything was like a dream. But this dream seems not bad either. I woke up at 6 on the wedding day. The makeup artist arrived at 7 o'clock and began to do my makeup. The bride looks so good today. The makeup artist said with a smile. Looking at myself in the mirror, I did look quite well. The wedding dress was delivered at 8 o'clock. It was a white fishtail wedding dress, studded with small diamonds, shining brightly under the light. The moment I put on the wedding dress, I suddenly felt a bit dazed. Bride, are you ready? The makeup artist asked. Well, I'm ready. At 9 o'clock the convoy arrived. I got into the wedding car and watched the rapidly receding scenery outside the window, my heart beating faster and faster. At 10 o'clock the car stopped in front of the hotel. The bridesmaids are already waiting for me. They're all my good friends. Ning Ning, you look so beautiful today. Yes, blessed is the bridegroom. I smiled but said nothing. Entering the hotel, the banquet hall was already filled with guests. Everyone is waiting for me. The music started. I took a deep breath, held my father's hand and slowly walked towards the catwalk. The light shone on me and everyone was looking at me. I looked up and saw Bronx Lou standing in the middle of the catwalk, wearing a black suit and with very bright eyes. When I walked up to him, my father put my hand in his. Treat her well. Father said. I will. Bronx Lou nodded solemnly. We walked towards the stage together. The master of ceremonies was already waiting for us. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the wedding ceremony of Mr. Lou and Miss Ning Song from Bronx. The master of ceremonies was giving the opening remarks, but my attention was on Bronx Lou. He kept holding my hand, his palm a little sweaty. Nervous? I asked in a low voice. Me too. He turned his head to look at me and smiled. Then let's be nervous together. Now please ask the groom to recite his oath. Bronx Lou took a deep breath and looked at me saying, Ning Song, from today on, I'm willing to be your husband. Whether poor or rich, healthy or ill, I will love you, respect you and protect you until the end of my life. I promise that I will be good to you, better than anyone else in the world. I will watch the sunrise and sunset with you, go to all the places you want to go with you and spend every spring, summer, autumn and winter with you. Ning Song, marrying me is the most correct decision of your life. Applause broke out throughout the venue. Now please ask the bride to recite her oath. I looked at Bronx Lou and spoke slowly. Bronx Lou, from today on, I am willing to be your wife. Whether poor or rich, healthy or ill, I will love you, respect you and accompany you until the end of my life. Thank you for being willing to marry me. Thank you for giving me a chance to start anew. I promise that I will cherish you well and love you well. Bronx Lou's eyes turned red. Now please ask the groom to put the ring on the bride's finger. He picked up the ring and gently put it on my ring finger. Now please, the bride, put the ring on the groom's finger. I also picked up the ring and put it on his ring finger. I declare that you two have officially become husband and wife. The master of ceremonies said, Groom, you can kiss your bride now. Bronx Lou looked at me, his eyes very bright. He slowly moved closer and gave me a gentle kiss on the lips. The whole venue was filled with enthusiastic applause and cheers. Just then the door was suddenly pushed open. Everyone turned their heads to look. Jet Lou stood at the door, his face pale. He looked at me, his eyes brimming with despair. Ning Song. He called my name. The entire venue fell silent. Bronx Lou held my hand tightly and looked at Jet Lou. Brother, the wedding has already begun. You shouldn't have come. Ning Song, are you really going to marry him? Jet Lou looked at me and said, You really don't regret it? No regrets. I said, Jet Lou, please leave. I'm not leaving. He stepped forward and said, Ning Song, listen to me. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Don't marry him. Let's start over, shall we? Security guard. Bronx Lou shouted. 2 security guards came up and held Jet Lou up. Let me go. Jet Lou struggled. Ning Song, listen to me. Jet Lou, please leave. I looked at him and said, "We're over." He looked at me and tears began to fall. "Ning Song, you'll regret it." He said, "You will surely regret it." The security guard carried him out and the gate was closed. The entire venue was filled with discussions. The master of ceremonies coughed awkwardly. "Okay, then let's continue." The wedding went on, but my heart was in a mess. Seeing Jet Lu like that, I suddenly wasn't sure if what I was doing was right. "Ning Song." Bronx Lu held my hand tightly and said, "Stop thinking about it. Just enjoy our wedding." I nodded and took a deep breath. After the wedding there is a banquet. Bronx Lu accompanied me to the table to propose toasts and everyone was blessing us. The bride and groom are a perfect match. May your marriage last 100 years and may you have a precious son soon. Be happy and harmonious and grow old together. I responded with a smile, but in my heart I was constantly thinking about Jet Lu. At 10 o'clock in the evening, the banquet ended and we returned to the wedding room. The wedding house was bought by Lu Exin in the Bronx. It's in the city center and decorated very warmly. "Are you tired?" he asked me. "Not bad." "Then go take a bath first. I'll run some water for you." He went to the bathroom to refill the water. I sat on the bed, staring blankly at the ring on my hand. The phone rang. It was a message from Jet Lu. "Ning Song, I wish you happiness." Just these 4 words. Looking at this message, I suddenly burst into tears. "Ning Song, why are you crying?" Bronx Lu came over, saw my tears and panicked. "Did I do something wrong?" "No." I wiped away my tears. "I just suddenly felt a bit sentimental." "What are you sighing about?" "I can't help but feel that all of this has come so fast." He sat beside me and held me in his arms. "Ning Song, no matter how soon it is, we are already married. From today on you are my wife. From now on I will be nicer to you, better than anyone else in the world." I know. That night I lay in the arms of the Bronx and thought a lot. Thinking of the 5 years I spent with Jet Lu, thinking of what happened during this period, and thinking of spending my whole life with Bronx Lu in the future. Suddenly I felt that perhaps this was the arrangement of fate. 1 month after our marriage, Bronx Lu and I went on our honeymoon trip. He took me to Sonya, the same place that Jet Lu had accompanied Harley to before. "Why choose this place?" I asked. "Because I want you to see that being with me is 100 times happier than being with my brother." We stayed at a hotel by the seaside. Every morning when we woke up we could see the sea. "Ning Song, look, isn't the sea very beautiful?" He held me in his arms and pointed to the sea in the distance. "Well, it's very beautiful." "Then let's go diving." "I won't." "It doesn't matter. I'll teach you." We went diving, surfing and watching the sunrise and sunset. Every night we sit on the beach and chat while listening to the sound of the waves. "Ning Song, are you happy?" he asked me. After returning to the city we began our normal life. Harley is gone. I froze. "When?" "The funeral is the day after tomorrow. Can you come?" I was silent for a while. "Okay. Whose phone number is it?" "Your brother." "What did he say?" No. He said, "Ning Song, I'm not at ease with you going to see my elder brother alone." "Well, happiness. That's good." He smiled. "I'm just afraid you won't be happy." "Bronx Lu, you are really nice." "Of course. I'm your husband." During that period I almost forgot about Jet Lu and the 5 years of our relationship. I began to enjoy every day with Bronx Land, to enjoy his company and his care. Bronx Land gets up early every day to make breakfast for me, takes me for a walk in the evening and accompanies me to go shopping and watch movies on weekends. "Ning Song, what would you like to eat?" he asked me. "Whatever. Then I'll make your favorite sweet and sour spare ribs." He was busy in the kitchen while I was sitting in the living room watching TV. Suddenly the mobile phone rang. "It's Jet Lu." I hesitated for a moment but still accepted. "Ning Song, can we meet?" His voice was very low. "Last night," he said, "she passed away peacefully with a smile on her face." After hanging up the phone, Bronx Lu came out of the kitchen. "Harley has passed away. His funeral will be held the day after tomorrow." Bronx Lu was silent for a while. "Do you want to go?" "Then I'll accompany you." "No need. I can go by myself." "Bronx Land. I know what you're thinking." He interrupted me, "But I still want to go with you." I looked at him and finally nodded okay. The day after tomorrow I went to the funeral with Bronx Lu. The funeral was simple and not many people came. Most of them were Harley's relatives and friends. Jet Lu stood in front of the morning hall, dressed in a black suit and looking very pale. Seeing us, he was stunned for a moment and then walked over. "Thank you for coming," he said. "Rest in peace, Harley," I said. Bronx Lu held my hand and stood beside me. The funeral went very quickly and ended in an hour. Everyone had left, leaving only Jet Lu standing in front of the tombstone. I walked over and stood beside him. "Are you okay?" I asked. "Not bad," he said. "I'm just a little tired." "Then take a rest." Ning Song. He suddenly turned his head to look at me. "I regret it." I looked at him without saying a word. "I really regret it," he said. "If time could turn back, I would never let you go." "Jet Lu, there are no ifs." "I know." He smiled, a bitter smile. "Ning Song, as long as you are happy, that's all that matters." I looked at him and suddenly felt a bit sad in my heart. "Jet Lu, you should be fine too." "I will." Bronx Lu came over and grabbed my hand saying, "Ning Song, it's time for us to go." I turned to leave when Jet Lu suddenly called out to me. "Ning Song." Sorry." I looked at him, silent for a long time. "Jet Lu, I forgive you." He froze and tears began to fall. "Thank you." Bronx Lu and I left the cemetery and got into the car. "Ning Song, do you still love my brother?" Bronx Lu suddenly asked. I looked at him and shook my head. "I don't love him anymore." Really? Really?" I said. "Bronxland, I only love you now." He looked at me, his eyes gradually reddening. "Ning Song, you have no idea how long I have been waiting for this sentence." "Fool." That night when we got home, Bronx Lu cooked a table full of dishes. "Come on, let's celebrate." He raised his wine glass. "Celebrate what?" "Celebrate that you finally let go of my brother." I smiled and said, "I let it go long ago." "Then let's celebrate our future." Let's celebrate our future." The wine glasses clinked together, making a crisp sound. 3 months after our marriage, I found out that I was pregnant. "Bronx, I'm pregnant." Holding the pregnancy test stick, I ran out excitedly. "Really?" He jumped up from the sofa. "Am I going to be a father?" "Well, you're going to be a father." He hugged me and walked around saying, "Ning Song, I'm so happy." "Stop turning. I'm dizzy." "Oh, I'm sorry." He quickly put me down and asked, "How are you feeling now? Are you feeling unwell?" "Not bad. I just feel a bit sick." "Then I'll go and cook some porridge for you." He scurried to the kitchen in a hurry. I watched his back and felt warm in my heart. After getting pregnant, Bronx Lu became more careful. Every morning she prepares meals for pregnant women for me. In the evening she accompanies me for a walk. On weekends she takes me to prenatal checkups. "Ning Song, who will our baby look like?" he asked. "Like you." "That won't do. I need to look like you to be good looking." "Do you think you're ugly?" "No, it's that you're prettier than me." I smiled and said, "Bronx Lu, you really know how to talk." "Of course. I'm your husband." During the prenatal checkup, the doctor said that the baby was very healthy. "Congratulations. It's a boy." "Boy." Bronx Lu was so excited that his hands were shaking. "Ning Song, we have a son." Back home, Bronx Lu began to prepare things for the baby. Buy cribs, baby strollers, toys, clothes, everything. "Bronxland, why did you buy so much?" I looked at the things piled up in the living room. That also needs to be prepared in advance. Seeing him bustling about, I was deeply touched. When I was 7 months pregnant, I met Jet Lu in the supermarket. He was pushing a shopping cart which contained some daily necessities. We stood there not knowing what to say. "Congratulations," he said. "You look very happy. Is Bronx kind to you?" "Very good." "That's good." He smiled, a bitter smile. "Ning Song, I'm very regretful." "Jet Lu, let bygones be bygones." "I know," he said. "I just want to tell you that if there is a next life, I will surely cherish you well." "There will be no next life," I said. "Jet Lu, take good care of yourself." "Well, you too." We each went our separate ways and never looked back. After 9 months of pregnancy, the due date has finally arrived. That night I suddenly felt a stomachache. "Bronxland, it seems I'm going to give birth." "What?" He panicked. "I'll take you to the hospital right away." When I got to the hospital, the doctor said that my cervix hadn't dilated yet and I had to wait. Bronx Lu has always been by my side, holding my hand. "Ning Song, don't be afraid. I'm here. I'm not afraid. That's good. After a whole night of pain, the next morning the baby was finally born. It's a boy weighing 7 pounds and 2 ounces. The nurse came out carrying the baby. Bronx-Lu was so excited that tears streamed down his face. Ning Song, we have a son. Well, we have a son now. Looking at the baby in the swaddling clothes, I suddenly felt that everything was worth it. On the day our baby was 1 month old, we held a full moon party. Many relatives and friends came and were all blessing us. Ning Ning, the baby is so cute. Yeah, the eyes are like mom's and the nose is like dad's. What a family of 3. How happy they are. I hug holding the baby in my arms. I watched Bronx-Lu greeting guests beside me, and my heart was filled with happiness. Suddenly I saw Jet Lu. He stood in the corner looking at us, his eyes very complicated. I walked over and asked, "Why are you here?" "I want to see you." He said, "See if you are really happy." "I'm very happy." I saw it. He looked at the baby in my arms and said, "He's very cute." "Thank you." "Ning Song, I'm leaving." He said, "If I work abroad for a few years, I might not come back for a long time. Have a pleasant journey." He looked at me, his eyes a little red. "Ning Song, I'm sorry. Jet Lu, we've all let it go." "You let it go, but I didn't." He said, "Ning Song, the thing I regret most in my life is that I didn't cherish you well." "Just kidding." He smiled. "Ning Song, thank you." "Thank me for what?" "Thank you for marrying me. Thank you for giving me a home." I looked at him and suddenly felt very touched. "Bronx-Lu, I also want to thank you." "Thank me for what?" "Thank you for always being so kind to me." "Fool." He kissed me on the forehead and said, "This is what I should do." That night our family of 3 sat on the balcony and watched the stars. "Ning Song, do you regret it?" Luwen Bronx. "Regret what?" "Regret marrying me." "No regrets." I said, "Bronxland, marrying you is the most correct decision I've ever made in my life." He looked at me, his eyes very bright. "Ning Song, I love you." "I love you too." The baby was babbling in my arms and we were laughing and teasing him. At that moment I suddenly felt that this was what happiness looked like. 1 year later, Jet Lu returned to China. He brought back a girlfriend whom he had met abroad. "Ning Song, this is my girlfriend, Anna." He introduced. "Oh." I smiled and reached out my hand. "Oh, Ning Song." Anna also smiled and held my hand. "Jet has told me a lot about you. Are they all good things?" "Sure." We had a meal together and the atmosphere was very harmonious. Jet Lu looked much happier than before and there was a sparkle in his eyes. "Ning Song, thank you." He whispered in my ear. "Thank me for what?" "Thank you for not waiting for me back then." He said, "Otherwise I might never know what true love is. As long as you are happy." "You too." That night when I got home, Bronx-Lu asked me, "How do you feel when you see my brother has a girlfriend?" "I don't feel anything." I said, "It's just that I feel he's finally getting over it." "That's great." "And what about you? Have you come out?" "I got out long ago." I said, "Bronxland, I only love you now." He smiled and pulled me into his arms. "Ning Song, I only love you too." Since then we have never mentioned Jet Lu again. We lead an ordinary yet happy life, accompanying our baby as we grow up slowly. Sometimes I wonder what it would have been like if I hadn't married Bronx-Lu back then. But soon I will smile and shake my head, because I know that such a life is already the best arrangement. Bronx-Lu has always been kind to me. Get up early every day to make breakfast for me, take me for a walk in the evening and go shopping with me on weekends. He said that the happiest thing in his life was to marry me. And I also want to say that marrying him was the most correct decision of my life. 5 years later we had a second child, a daughter. Bronx-Lu was overjoyed and said that he had finally formed the character for good. "Ning Song, look, we have a son and a daughter now. How happy we are." "Yeah, very happy." "Shall we have another one?" "No more." "Just kidding." He smiled. 2 will be enough. Our life is ordinary yet happy. There is no passionate love, but there is a steady and enduring companionship. Sometimes I think that perhaps love is supposed to be like this. Not earth-shattering but as plain as water. It's not about vows of eternal love, but about mutual support through thick and thin. Bronxland has given me such love and I am very content. End of text.